Well, I'll don't even know what that was. I ain't even going to cut it out. I'm just going to show that not everything's perfect. Unlike you, because you're looking absolutely amazing on this wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. That's it, baby. It's the midweek hump, and we all love a midweek hump. I hope you're having a fantastic week, and I'm going to get straight into the meat and potatoes. Can't bloody speak, even though English is my second language. We're going to crack on, because we've got a lot to go through. Red flags. Now, there is an abundance of red flags around the Charlie Kirk assassination. We know there is, and we could go on forever. We could listen to the likes of Candace Owens, and I don't know how deep that rabbit hole goes, but look, there's a lot of people saying a lot of things. We've got explosives under the T-shirt. We've got being shot from behind. We've got being shot from in front. We've got not being shot at all. We've got other stuff like Charlie Kirk's not even dead, which is something that I don't agree with. But look, we are going to talk about four what I would class as huge red flags in the Charlie Kirk case, going from important but not so important to something to very much keep your eye on as we dip into number 4. So number 1 for me is camera footage. The camera footage. Now, there was thousands, I repeat, thousands of cameras on Charlie Kirk. Absolutely loads. Yet the only footage that we have seen is blurry. I've spoken about this before. Potato cam strikes back. Potato cam again. Whenever there is something important happens and we're trying to determine what happened, there's no footage. Despite a world where everything is in 4K, we just can't seem to get any clear footage on anything whatsoever. And for me, that's a red flag. You would expect something to be leaked, something to be seen, something gets someone. You know, we saw an image put out by media of Tyler Robinson. Yet there is no clear image, nothing whatsoever, no clear image that you can look at and go, that's definitely him. And then you've obviously got the likes of Candace Owens claiming that it's been said that he never even went on that campus, which if she's got someone saying that he never went on that campus, but yet the official narrative is that he done it, so he must have been there, then surely that's a massive, massive problem. But yeah, we don't have any footage whatsoever. And what are you doing? What have you got? What has he got? I have no clue. That damn cat. It's you guys, right? You want to see the cat, so I let him in. I let him in here, but then I let him in here and he fucking turns the gaff over. If he breaks something expensive, it's your fault. I'm going to blame you lot while he plays football around the living room. Anyway, yeah, so camera footage to me is a fucking important one, which leads me into still holding on to that initial one, but going into the second one, which is security. The security pre and post event. Because look, we've got a situation where Charlie Kirk knew that his life was in danger. He was getting threats all the time. Now, it would be claimed by that old dude who sat at the front, you know, who was on his phone and dived and all that, who got a lot of backlash, that apparently that there had been a hex placed on him. A witch had made a curse on Charlie even, and this is apparently something, because of Charlie's religious beliefs, that he actually had a conversation with Erica about, and this raised some concerns to him. Now, I don't know the accuracy, the truth of that. All I can tell you is that's something that is being claimed. But ultimately, Charlie Kirk knew that he had received threats, and therefore his life could have potentially been in danger. And by the way, that bloke's name's Frank. And Frank, right, had even apparently raised concerns with Charlie about that specific site and said, look, I don't like this. I feel uncomfortable with this situation, you know, just the layout of it, how it's sat, how it's, you know, the buildings. And Charlie's response would be, no, we're okay, we've got security, yada, yada, yada. When in reality, what is that cat doing, man? You can hear this is what I'm up against. He knows I'm filming, so he's seeing how much noise he can make. Damn animal. So the issue that I have is you employ a security team to do security, to be your security. And in reality, what the fuck were they doing? What were the security team doing prior to this happening? We've got clips that would show the security team on their fucking phones, literally not paying attention to what's going on and on their phones. So I would go as far as to say, if that is a security team that anybody is contemplating using, then proceed with caution, because Charlie Kirk, surrounded by thousands of people, a lot of them who didn't fucking like him, someone who had previously received threats. There'd been situations where he had nearly been attacked, and you've got a security team around him that prior to this happening in an area that clearly posed a risk. Even me, and I'm not a security professional, but I could look at that situation and think that was a sniper's haven. A sniper's haven. And do you know what I mean? It was, why on earth would they not? Are you trying to take the piss? What are you doing? Jesus. He's got a tunnel, what he hasn't touched, not touched it since we've had it. Now I'm filming and he's been let in here. He's now wearing it around his neck like a collar. Yeah, so do you know what I mean? What were they doing? What were this security team actually doing to protect Charlie? Now, some people say that drones are up. Some people are saying that drones weren't up. If they weren't up, why the fuck weren't it? Why would you have not had drones? You know, in 2025, when you've got a guy who's going to sit in front of a load of people and literally got a row of buildings around him, why would you not put drones up in the air and fucking monitor what is going on these roofs? What do they think, right? So if you're going to... Just someone with half a fucking brain rattling around in their head, like a fucking peanut pinging around in their head, and you said, right, so in this situation, if you'd done this in schools and said, right, so imagine this guy here, he's going to do a chat, what is his dangers if he's someone who could potentially be assassinated? What is the danger?
Miss. He could be shot, miss. He could be shot.
Good answer. Good answer. So where are they going to shoot him from?
The roofs, miss. The roofs. In front of him, right there.
Great answer. But the fucking security team couldn't seemingly figure that out as a potential risk. So they did fuck all. And now apparently in the aftermath of all this, they've decided, oh, now we're going to do this, and this. So why didn't you do this, and this before Charlie Kirk was executed? And why is it in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk being assassinated, we see them running around, seemingly then kicking in gear? Right, what we need to do now is preserve the crime scene. No, actually, we're not going to preserve the crime scene. We're going to turn the fucking crime scene over. We're going to move chairs. We're going to move cameras, take cameras down. We're going to fucking pass stuff between ourselves in people's pockets. You hold that, Jeff. You hold that, John. Do you know what I mean? And you're thinking to yourself, what the fuck's going on there? You'd think that they'd just want to preserve everything as it is. Right, let's keep that. Let's not let anyone near it. Charlie's been, exit stage left out of there, so we can just sort this place out. Law enforcement, come in, do your thing, right? But that's not what you see. You see them altering everything, moving everything, taking things out of the camera, which just is bizarre to me. Let me know what you think. Number 3, which is one of the biggest... perhaps joint top, is the round that was used. The round that was used, which we've come to the conclusion, well, we haven't, but the people in power that tells you what happened, they've come to the conclusion. Miracle. Fucking miracle. Charlie Kirk was Superman, bones of steel, like Wolverine, and that stopped that round from 142 yards, stopped a round that would go through, according to a surgeon, 2 fucking elks and blow holes in them. But Charlie Kirk's neck, nah, mate, nah. And that's a miracle. An absolute miracle. So you can't question it. You can't question miracles, can you? If you question miracles, you're an idiot. What are you doing? What are you doing questioning miracles? How can this round that goes through every fucking thing it hits not go through Charlie Kirk? Well, it's easy. Easy. It's a miracle. You're stupid, ain't you? Miracle. Miracle, I tell you. You've got people who have shot these rounds throughout their lives. They've seen the damage. We've got people literally doing tests online that shows you the damage that they do. Now, I can't show it because as soon as you even... This will probably get demonetised because I've even mentioned it. So fucking showing it. But you can do your own homework, do your own research, and look at these people who... they're a lot more knowledgeable about these things than me. And they'll show you. They'll show you. They'll walk you through it. I've got other videos where I have shown it. But look at it. And tell me how that round from 142 yards didn't take his fucking head clean off. Take his head clean off. Which obviously then leads you into these other avenues with respect of Tyler Robinson. Did he do it? Was he a decoy? I potentially believe that Tyler Robinson was a decoy. I believe that there was a group of people involved in this assassination. I absolutely believe that wholeheartedly. And he was just part of it. And I know some people don't believe that he's got anything to do with it whatsoever. And Candace Owens would lead you to believe that he's got nothing to do with it whatsoever. He'd never even been on that campus. Never been on it. Not disputing it's his gun, but he's never been on that campus. Don't know how that works at this stage, but I'm willing to listen and be educated. But my personal thoughts are he's involved, potentially a decoy, and there was another shooter somewhere. That's my thoughts and feelings because that's the only thing that makes it make sense that his head weren't ripped off his shoulders. But you tell me. And fourth and finally, which is the biggest bone of contention for many people, is the reason behind the assassination. Now, you could propagandize these fucking goofy bastards around it, such as Tyler Robinson, and get them to do your dirty work, which is what powerful people most likely do. But who are these most powerful people and why was it done? Now, a lot of people are pointing the finger and saying that there's potential involvement of a certain individual. There was a letter, and the letter has now been released. In my opinion, it looks like it was released. We'll come back to that in a sec. It looks like it was released or typed up by the same person who did the text messages for Tyler. But this is this letter. You can go and see Ryan Saavedra, and he has released it. You may have seen it, you may not. If you're unfamiliar with it, this was apparently a letter that went to Bibi Netanyahu. It was written back, I believe, in May. So a lot can happen between fucking May and September anyway, so I don't even see the relevance of this. You can like someone in the morning and fucking hate him in the afternoon, so this doesn't really prove anything. But there's been a lot of arguments over the fact that Bibi Netanyahu came out in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's death and was like, oh, we was bros, mate, we was like that. And people are like, no, I don't fucking think so. Charlie Kirk was starting to see that some of the things around this entire situation was not as he wanted. It didn't gel with him. It didn't gel with him. Now, Charlie Kirk was 100%, he was a fan of Israel itself, but there was certain things that you don't like. It's like you can live in your country and love your country. But there are certain things about your country that you can think, fucking hell, really? Is that it? Well, I fucking don't like that. Do you know what I mean? So you can love a country, but not necessarily like some of the things that are happening within it. And I think that Charlie Kirk was seemingly seeing some of the things that were happening, and he was like, no, I'm not really gelling with that. That's not really my cup of tea. So there's this battle now of people online who, first of all, you've got, this letter has seemingly come out now, which, again, in my humble opinion, that renders this letter fucking null and void from the jump, because it didn't come out prior to Charlie Kirk being killed. So it's like, what does it prove? It proves that there is now a letter that exists that is, in one sense, is even trying to say what is fucking amazing in this, right? There's sections of this that contradicts itself. Like, Charlie Kirk saying to Netanyahu, you need to keep everything in-house, don't farm stuff off to people inside the US, while simultaneously saying, but farm your things off to us, me, and I'll do it for you. So that's a fucking complete contradiction, and seems to go completely against what Charlie Kirk stood for, which was kind of listening to both sides of the argument. This was like, no, you need to fucking stamp that out. And I'm paraphrasing, but it is the vibe of it, and I've put it up on the screen. You can pause these screens and read it. If you've read it, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'll just flip. I'm not reading it because I'll fucking be asleep by the end of it. But what we are going to do is just have a quick look at Nick Fuentes, because he's obviously now having a go at Candace Owens, because Candace Owens have been pushing about this letter not existing and seemingly suggesting that there could be involvement somewhere with respect of the Israel, this situation that was seemingly unfolding, which we're going to touch on another clip, which does prove that there were fucking issues. You know, there were some things, there were some pressures from donors that Charlie Kirk was experiencing, and certain things that he, in his own fucking words, are telling you that he has been called, proves that there was some conflict here. And we've also got information that would seemingly suggest that Bibi Netanyahu had offered Charlie Kirk $150 million that he had turned down. And again, I can't say that's accurate. I can just tell you that that's what's being said. And it would now be interesting, in the light of this coming to light, are we now going to see a massive influx of $150 million go into TPUSA from a certain someone? And it's put under the guise that, oh, look, Charlie Kirk loved them, absolutely loved them. And this money, he did want it. He did want it. Watch this space. But let's just jump over to this here, and let's just listen to Nick Fuentes kind of grilling Candace Owens for this letter.
Have you ever considered inviting some of the released Israeli hostages to go on a speaking tour in the United States? This could be very effective. We're like halfway through the letter, by the way. This is who Max Blumenthal and Candace Owens want us to believe was the second coming of Hitler. Israel needed to kill this guy because he was about to blow the lid on the whole operation.
And this was on the Kim Iverson show. She showed this clip here. But let me just, again, I don't really understand how the likes of, like, Nick Fuentes, for instance, I can't understand why you can take this letter, bearing in mind that it was supposedly written in May. It was then September when he was executed. And again, I'm not pointing the finger at anyone. I don't know. I don't know. We can all speculate and have our thoughts and feelings. But what I will say is the releasing of this letter now doesn't prove fuck all, does it? It doesn't prove anything. In fact, the fact that it's come out kind of 2 weeks after Charlie Kirk's death, it could be argued that this entire letter could have been written in the aftermath of his death, to be worded and to look a specific way to make it look like this individual had certain thoughts and feelings about another individual, and you wouldn't fucking know. So if you're somebody who is being a realist, this letter proves absolutely fuck all. And if you actually read into it, there is hints that would seemingly go against the very nature of what Charlie Kirk believed in. So now if we go over to here, and I must show you this, because this will again prove, and this is off of Candace Owens, but she's going to show you a clip between Megyn Kelly and Charlie Kirk, and listen to it.
Words. I mean, shout out to Village Crazy Lady on X. She's a great follow. She just reads Bill Ackman's diatribe and says, okay, she goes through the itinerary. Bill Ackman just confirmed that he hosted his meeting with Charlie on August 4th and 5th. Here's Charlie talking to Megyn Kelly.
So this, if you're unfamiliar with what this was about, this was a meeting that some deemed it as an intervention. It was in the Hamptons. Charlie Kirk goes there, and it seems to be with respect of a lot of Charlie Kirk's donors talking to him, seemingly being pissed off that Charlie Kirk's views on a certain subject are shifting, and they're concerned about the impact that that will have on the business. Listen.
The very next day on August 6th. Now, how do you think that meeting went down? Oh, yeah, forgot to tell you that. That's the next day, okay? That is the next day that Charlie sits down and vents his frustration about how he is being treated. Take Charlie in his own words. And by the way, yesterday, we only showed one portion of what Charlie said to Meghan on that show. Go watch the full thing. Remember, he's with Bill. He's with Seth. He's
earned the right to have some credibility on the subject of Israel and don't want to be called those names when we have some mild pushback on some of the overreaches, whether it's, you know, whether they're winning or losing the propaganda war right now. And my contention is they've begun to lose it. And I realize it's propaganda coming at us from Hamas, but they...
And it's very... What I want you to do, if you're very interested in this, listen to this, which I will play it. We have to stop it. You know why? Because if you don't, you'll get fucking pulled over the coals for it. But listen to this, then read the letter, and think whether what you're reading in the letter reflects what you're hearing here. And again, if this letter is genuine, it was written back in May, and a lot can happen between May and September. And again, this isn't to point the finger at anyone. This is just to question the integrity of the letter and whether Charlie Kirk, at the point when he was assassinated, his thoughts and feelings were what was in this letter. And I'm going to say I don't believe that he wrote this letter because it goes against the very fundamentals of what he seemingly believed in, unless he was literally just a massive great liar, which I don't believe he was. Some people will.
Their numbers have turned here in America. They've turned, not so much with Republicans, a little bit with Republicans, but completely with the Democrat Party and with independents. They have shifted mightily from at least double digits highs to single digit lows now with when it comes to approval. And also with respect to, you and I speculated about this at the Turning Point event, whether the possibility of Jeffrey Epstein possibly being a Mossad agent or asset or affiliated with, that's been turned around on me too, to you must be anti-Semitic. What the hell? That's such bullshit. The same people who say you can criticize Israel, that's fine, we won't call you anti-Semitic if you criticize Israel, now turn around immediately and say,
just a side note, I wonder if we are actually going to get back into the Epstein file situation. Are we actually going to go there? Or is this, or are they hoping that this is going to make people forget?
Say, you're anti-Semitic for even raising that. I completely reject that. And I raise this as a pushback against my friends on that particular strain of the aisle to watch it, because you don't want to alienate people who are openly your friends by going nuts in your crackdowns on mild pushback on anything related to Israel. Now you take it.
I'm so glad you brought this up, and I would second that. Meghan, I think I have a bulletproof resume showing my defense of Israel, both on campus, on social media, to great, let's just say mockery and scorn at times, because I believe it, right? I believe in the scriptural land rights given to Israel. I believe in fulfillment of prophecy. And again, I'm not a theologian, but I'm a Christian. My life was changed in Israel. The spiritual energy is so amazing there. I want them to win.
So remember, the importance is like what I said. You can love a country, you can love a place, you can have a real connection to it. Like I know that a lot of you guys who watch these videos on this channel, the vast majority of my audience is from the US, and I know that there'll be so many of you that love the United States of America, but there will be some things that sadden you, that rips your fucking heart out when you think about what is happening to your country. So you can have a love for a country, but things within that country you can have an abhorrent hatred of.
Said that repeatedly.
Same.
And However, Megan, you're hitting on something very potent and important. Now, let me first say, I don't want to judge an entire group because there's been many people in the pro-Israel world that have been very sweet, very kind, very nuanced, very Charlie, you know, you're with us. You don't have to agree all the time. However, and I will say,
did you catch that? You don't have to agree all the time. So he is out of his own mouth. He is saying there that there are things he doesn't agree with. There are things that he doesn't agree with.
This, the behavior by a lot, both privately and publicly, are pushing people like you and me away. Not like we're going to be pro-Hamas, not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite. I am learning biblical Hebrew and writing a book on the Shabbat. I honor the Shabbat, literally the Jewish Sabbath. I visit Israel and fight for it. And there's another article out in the Times of Israel today. I could read it on air. I was just reading before I got on. Charlie, what are you doing? Like, why are you, what am I doing? I'm sorry. Like, let's just take a step back here.
So look, there was issues. There was absolute issues, and you know, in abundance around there, and you know, we can get really into the weeds with that. But so we've got some huge red flags, some huge red flags. Again, going from the camera footage, the seemingly being suppressed or it just doesn't exist, a security team who seemingly wanted to spend more time on their phones and get caught on camera on their phones. I don't know what that was all about when they're supposed to be looking after Charlie Kirk. With, you know, the round itself, we spoke about the round and the damage that this round failed to do to Charlie Kirk, and it's just simply being put down to being a miracle. And then we go out on this more political situation with $150 million potential donation that was turned down, and a letter that has been delayed till after Charlie Kirk's death to be released. So look, there are some red flags. I'd like you to let me know down below what your red flags are. But look, there is more to this death, seemingly, than meets the eye. And are we just going to have another situation where we just allow it to play out and never to really learn what is actually happening? And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Turning Point USA, keep a close eye. Keep a very close eye on the direction that they go. Because I have a feeling that they're not going to be so closely following the direction that Charlie Kirk wanted to go in. Love you all.